This video was sponsored by Squarespace. If your gym has an app where you can log your sends, you might know all too well how fun and addictive the gamification of climbing can be. When recently I returned to my previous local gym after moving away for a while, I was reunited with their app Toplogger. It got me thinking, with a tactical climbing approach, how far might it be possible to climb on my gym's leaderboard in just 1 hour of climbing?
Part of this session is going to be quite tactical because I've only got so much climbing in me in an hour. I'm going to have to gravitate towards things that are kind of like my style and the highest grade, like right on the boundary between like flashable and not. And that's perhaps a little difficult for me to tell, especially when we've been away for quite a while, so I'm not like as familiar with the style as I used to be. But I'm quite excited. I think this is going to be a bit of a baptism by fire back to volume 1. So I haven't actually had a look at the scoreboard yet, but what would be really cool is if I get into like the top, well, as high as I can get basically, but I'm not expecting too much. There's a lot of strong climbers that climb at volume 1. I think we should start climbing because I've done a lot of chatting and not that much climbing. So I have warmed up. The first boulder that I'm going to go for is one that I've had my eye on since we got here today, and it's this triangle climb in the corner, purely because it's got some new holds to volume 1 at least, and new holds for me. I've not climbed on them before, so. If I could flash 10 hard climbs, that would stand me in pretty good stead to get as high up the leaderboard as I can. Again, it's like that tactics thing of like, I guess knowing what you're good at, and maybe I wouldn't always recommend that for a session, to just do boulders that you think you're good at, but it'd be quite interesting, I think, to see throughout the course of the session if there's any themes that emerge, like any boulders that, or like styles or hold types that I move towards more readily. Next, I'm going to try this blue one, which is quite different, I would say, from the last one, but it's got some small holds and some like slightly slopier small holds, but we'll see. On a flat wall, I think that's going to be the emerging theme, is going to be flat wall rather than overhang. I think also from like an energy preservation perspective. Again, like last move, I think I'm kind of rushing a little bit, which is also something that I wouldn't always recommend for like a session. I'm not climbing super carefully. But I think with that kind of a climb, where body position is kind of important, if you are rushing, you can easily wobble yourself off, but I don't know, I felt pretty comfortable on those holds. So now I'm going to move along the wall this way, and I think just pick out boulders along the way that I like the look of. Maybe I want to try and go for find a grade that's hard on Toplogger, but match it up with a boulder that I feel like I would like, and try and strategize that way. So hard boulders, but that suit me, to try and get those flash points. Maybe, maybe it's too soon in the session. But so naturally, I think we're going to have to head to either the slab or vertical crimpy terrain. And I think I have just the boulder in mind. All of the handholds look nice. I think they're the kind of thing I like quite in-cut crimps. The feet look quite high, so I wonder if it's just awkward. And then there's one like big pinch in the middle that I'm a little nervous about. I don't know if I want to go left or right. I think maybe both, left and right. Woohoo!
Before we carry on with the challenge, I wanted to have a word from the sponsor of today's video, which is once again Squarespace. If you're familiar with Hannah Morris Bouldering, the channel, you'll know that last year we released a series of t-shirts and some stickers over on hannahmorrisbouldering.com. Practically everything to do with that store is run through Squarespace. So not only did we design the storefront with Squarespace, but all of the commerce runs through Squarespace's commerce option. As you can see here, this is our storefront. We're selling our t-shirts and our stickers, and it was really easy to create the listings. It's also really easy on Squarespace to keep track of things like inventory, and there's also things that you can set up to make your life just that little bit easier, like stock alert. So if we run out of stock, we will be notified by Squarespace so that we don't oversell t-shirts and have disappointed customers. For us, Squarespace has really been an integral part of building our brand and building our visual identity online. If you would like to check out Squarespace for yourself, head to squarespace.com/Hannah Morris, and then when you're ready to launch your own website or domain, use the unique code Hannah Morris for 10% off your first purchase of a website or a domain. And now back into
If I
the
could
challenge.
set my perfect style of climb, I think that would be it. I'm going to try this 6B+, this green one. It looks like quite nice, handholds wise. I think it looks like my kind of thing. I quite fancy my chances on it, so. I feel like this is the kind of thing we want. Where it's like, you get 6B for it, but the general consensus is maybe it's on the softer side. That's what we're hunting today. So, to be honest, I actually don't think that was a 5+ at all. I think that was more like 6A+, 6B. I think I'm going to go for that one. It does look a little, it looks droppable. You have to stand, I'll talk you through the boulder now, but it's like traversey, and then I think you have to finish, well, you do have to finish stood on this volume. Oh man. Is there anything on the... Oh no. What? Any ideas? I think that's a timing and balance thing. I'm going to give that one more go. Or should I move on? How do I play it? It didn't feel that like energy sapping, but how many points did I get for it? 6B+. Should we try and find a hard 60 instead? Do you think? Hard 60? Okay. I feel like that's the optimal boulder because it's hard, or gets a high grade, and then if you flash it, then you get more points. I guess also at this point, once you've started ticking off your top 10, you're kind of in competition with the other people in the scoreboard for goes. So like, the closer I can get to like marginal for me and still flash, the better. Just like in a, I guess that's the case with any climbing competition. The black is 6C+ or the 7A+. So do I go for the 7A+ whilst I'm feeling strong and less tired? And then risk maybe dropping the 6C+? Or do I go for the 60 plus whilst I'm feeling good because I know I could get it? Build up to it. Okay, Nathan reckons build up to it, so I'm going to build up to it. This one, I'd say the holds bump down in size, which I guess makes sense because the grade bumps up by a plus grade. Bump, bump. I reckon it's all going to be in this. I'm going to give these a brush because I reckon it's all in these black pockets. So my top tip for climbing competition, even though I never climb in climbing competitions, you can't touch the holds with your hands, but you can touch them with a brush. So just then I went in and had like a little brush, had a little dig to see how big the hold was. And you can get a little bit of information, I feel. I mean, this could be, you might not want to listen to this tip, but I think that's a good tip. What do you think? Cool. Ding! Crimpy vertical is like, it's good, isn't it? Next. Here, I am also screen recording so that I can put this on screen, but that gets, so that one's the top one that I've just done, that I got the most points for because it's the hardest grade and I flashed it. And then I've got 4 more boulders to go before I'm at my allotted like 10. I'm going to go for some slightly different style of climbing just to keep the video a little bit more varied. And we're going to go for this red one on this like really interesting, would you call this a what's this, a dihedral? A volume? Ooh. Okay, that was definitely the closest I've come to dropping a boulder. On the right hand slope I was like adjusting. Didn't feel great, but got the tick. Next up we have a different style again. This is more comp style and a bit more like wiggling around on volumes. It's this yellow, it's a pentagon. I think it gets 7A, so it'll be the hardest one we tried today. There's not really much else to say about it, other than it looks hard, and I think maybe I could get it, maybe I'll drop it. We'll see. If I drop it, I think, it depends how far I get, but if I drop it, I think maybe it's worth working for the points, but maybe there's also some like 6s that we could go and try and flash. see what the top's like. Hard. I thought that I might be able to break it by pressing up into the volume and then getting the good hold on the volume, but it turns out that's really hard and flexible. I think if I could turn my palm from a palm to a finger press, maybe I could get the, I don't know, what do you think? It's really nice. It's like a quite a positive pinch. It's got like a little bit that you can get behind. I wonder if maybe if I can smear on the volume, I can get a bit of height over that. And then I really think it's just like trusting the stretched arm and then going with a bit of momentum. It's kind of weird because like you're weighted on a locked out arm and trying to twist it like this, and I think you feel if you take any weight off then you're going to slip, but that's exactly what you have to do to pop up. I don't know how to get any more height. I wondered about then I was trying to swap my feet so I could get a right foot up here, but my hand's there, so.
Later on in the session, I actually managed to figure out a method that worked for me on this boulder, which Nathan managed to capture on my phone, so here is the Sengo. I really love this boulder. Once I'd figured out the move, the dynamic catch felt really like my anti-style, and it always feels great when you conquer a move that feels unlikely for you or that you don't feel like you're especially confident with. So yeah, phone footage, I know, but I wanted to include it in the video because I was really proud of this send.
So we've changed up the angle a little bit. I've been peer pressured into the comp ball, and we're going to go for this pink. This pink has holds on it that I'm familiar with because they set the purple circuit at the depot with them. I think that is them, isn't it? Yeah. So we're going to go for this one, and it looks a bit hard. It looks a bit sketchy. I find the comp ball a little intimidating, but I'm climbing okay today, so we'll see. Go for this lilac, which gets 60 plus on Toplogger, which looks okay. This wall always feels really steep, but the holds look kind of okay, so I think it's a good pick, maybe. Actually, start looks hard. We'll see. the end. That brings to an end our power hour at volume 1. And because I climbed 10 and more climbs, I now have a total of 10 boulders. And let me try and figure out how I can find it. Show line. Okay. Why can't I use this app?
So overall, once I took in my top 10 results and inputted them into Toplogger, I ended up with an accumulative total of roughly 680 points on average, which meant that I placed 3rd in the women's leaderboard, which I was really actually very pleasantly surprised with and would definitely take. I ended up ranking 64th, I want to say, if I'm remembering that right, of 331 in the men's.
So I hope you enjoyed following along on this session. I thought it was quite an interesting format. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in my next video.